Gillam IV, Major Gillam IV. The leading technical astronaut whom I had a chance to sit and talk with the day before the launch at Cape Kennedy, Colonel Gregory, Frederick Gregory. He's the leading technical astronaut. He's one of the 3 men who were sent up to check out the space shuttle before it goes up. He was the man who was selected to redesign the cockpit, the brain of the space shuttle. He redesigned 5 of the cockpits because the first one was screwed up. He was responsible. I have a picture of him sitting blind in the middle of an airplane, blind, landing it on the point of a pin. He's responsible for introducing one of the most important new safety devices in airplanes, which will become common in the 1990s, the micro-instrumentation landing system, whereby whether the pilot is blind, dead, or drunk, that plane is going to land at the point of the pin. He was responsible also for inventing a new power controller, which will enable the pilot, cut hand fatigue in half, enable the pilot to control all the systems in the airplane with one hand. And you find also the toilets, even the space toilets are designed by a black. And this was the best design they had, because there's a problem in space. When you have a call of nature, it doesn't go down, it goes up. And they're always experimenting. So a few shuttles ago, they tried some balloon thing and it burst on the way down. It was a very nasty landing. And he, the same man, Bob Sherney, invented the tires for the moon buggy. They had to find tires that would be 10 times lighter than Earth tires, yet would be able to have traction on 1/5 the gravity of the Earth, which is on the moon, and yet carry the weight of the machines, etc., the instrumentation. Sherney devised that. Sherney is also the only man who has spent the longest time in states of weightlessness without going in a spaceship. And the only aircraft we have, the KC-13509 aircraft, the only aircraft that, flying a parabolic curve, achieves weightlessness. And it achieves weightlessness for about 1 minute. It's known as the vomit comet, because when it spins, everything you have inside of you, unless your train comes out. And the leading researchers in hypersonic research, for example, the leading researchers is a black woman. She's the one who solved the sonic boom. Dr. Christine Darden has solved the sonic boom problem, which will enable us to fly several times the speed of sound at the Whisper in the 1990s. I met her also at Cape Kennedy. The 2 leading black researchers, and the leading researchers in space medicine are 2 black women, one an Afro-Hispanic, Dr. Cowens, and one Dr. Long, who've invented a device which enables you to exercise your involuntary systems, that you can change your heart rate like the yogi. It's like a quantification of yoga. You can change your heart rate and your blood pressure. These things will be spin-offs which will affect the general populace later. These things are necessary in space because we find tremendous problems emerging in space. You go up in space and you find lots of the fluids in your lower system collect, because you can't, it's not like one of those great spaceships you see in the space movies. You can't go running about jogging in the morning, but you have to exercise. You have to keep in extreme fitness because you're operating in zero gravity. And they have done tremendous work in space medicine, which will make a tremendous amount of difference to this. One of the things that I found extremely heartening, and let me end now, was that NASA was appreciative of what we were doing. They ordered 1,000 copies of this book, Blacks in Science, so that their astronauts and others could study it, so that they could see what contribution Africans were making both in ancient and modern times. The first copies were given to our 2 leading astronauts, Colonel Gregory and Bluford, and these men are aware, even though they do not participate in this, they are aware of how important the work they are doing, how they become standards in the world. And that is what I want to end on. We are not doing this simply as an academic exercise. This is not just an accumulation of new facts. These things are presented because we can only heal, and this is true for the black as well as for the white, both the prisoner and the imprisoned, both the prisoner, and the jailer. We are doing this because it is necessary to revise the history of man. The tremendous anguish which is deep in the heart of all of us, which arises out of these falsehoods, the falsehoods upon which this civilization are built, have got to go. This is a movement. This is a movement which is sacred. There was a time when certain people were able to take their history and turn it into sacred document. History, the study of history in times such as this, can become a sacred activity, a religious activity, whereby the fragmentation that we have suffered, the sense of loss, the sense of alienation and homelessness, can be redeemed by a sense of wholeness, a new sense of wholeness. Such a sense of wholeness can only spring from what we bring here, a new vision of history. Thank you very much.